Charlie Calanni from Charlie's Auto Repair in Lakewood. How you doing, Charlie?
Good evening, guys. How you guys doing?
Good, Charlie.
Fantastic. We are.
Well, I wish I was talking to you under better circumstances.
Yeah, no kidding. We're about to be invaded by illegals coming up, and you're having your own problems.
Have been.
Yeah, well, it's going to get worse. So
that's true.
So what's going on in Lakewood? Apparently, Lakewood is doing some. I mean, we all know Lakewood at this point,
yep.
And they have a lot of good restaurants, I guess, and some coffee shops, but other than that, they're a little crazy out that way. Not to put words in your mouth, but that's what I feel. So what's going on out there?
Well, last week, the mayor and one of the councilmen introduced an ordinance that the short version is that it would be impossible to comply with and stay in business.
How so?
There's stuff in here. They want to introduce a completely new chapter to the codified ordinances. They want it strictly pertains to automotive repair garages and automotive related businesses. They call it the automotive business operations ordinance, or as I like to call the automotive business elimination ordinance. There's rules in here that I'll give you a few of them here. One, they want to limit the parking on the private property. So any of us that have a parking lot, they want to limit that to one spot for every 250 square feet of usable shop space. So your average bay that you can bring a car inside is somewhere between 10 by 25, 12 by 25. So you're talking about, one parking spot per bay. Well, we have 5 bays here. Only 3 of them have lifts. So that gives me a maximum of 5 parking spaces that I have on our private property and a parking lot that I can put 20 to 25 vehicles on if I want to. But then they take it a step further and say that not only are our parking lot limited, parking spaces limited on our own private parking lot now, the third restriction here under how the operators of these businesses have to conduct themselves says no operator shall park, display, or store any vehicle or equipment on any street or alley. So it's not bad enough that they want to tell me how many cars I can keep on our parking lot. They also want to tell me that I'm not allowed to park on the public parking. My customers aren't allowed to park on the public parking. But everybody else's business, if you don't have an automotive related business like a bar or restaurant or whatever, coffee shop, whatever, your customers, your employees, you are perfectly welcome to use the public parking. The mayor herself actually said these words came out of her mouth on Monday when I was at the city council meeting, that a automotive repair shop is a private business. And forgive me if I don't quote this exact. She said it's a private business and should be just that and not be allowed to use the public parking. And I'm sitting, I almost fell off my chair like, so what? As opposed to what? Angelo's Pizza is a public business? I don't understand what we're, It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And the more you read it, the worse it gets. They want to impose a permitting system to where we have to have a yearly permit, just like a rental property would. Only with this, they want to be able to come inside whenever they feel like it, and do inspections before they give you the permit. Then on top of that, if you violate any part of this ordinance, they can suspend that permit for up to 30 days, and you can't work if you don't have the permit. So effectively, they can shut you down for up to 30 days without any due process whatsoever. Then it gets even worse than that if they take you to court and convict you, because this is an ordinance, that means it's a law. If they convict you on violating any part of this ordinance, first offense is up to 30 days in jail.
Wow.
You can't be serious.
I swear to God. I wish I was making it up.
Charlie, this is funny.
Yeah.
Now, is this up for vote or just being jammed in?
So it's not up for a vote by the public. It's going to be up for a vote eventually within the city council. So if they want to ram it through, they can ram it through. They can ignore anybody that speaks against it and just push it through. There is no grandfather clause in it.
Right.
I don't know. We've tried to argue some stuff about being grandfathered in the past, and it didn't work regarding some different things. But
are there any hearings scheduled for this?
So last I heard, it was being referred to a committee. Last Monday was what they call the first read.
Right.
There'll be 2 more reads.
Right.
And in between that, there's supposed to be it's going to go to some kind of a committee. Now, I haven't heard of anything on the agenda for the next city council meeting, which will be a week from tonight. But according to one city official that somebody spoke to, according to her, it's on the agenda for the next city council meeting for the second read. Now, I haven't seen an agenda yet. I sure as hell haven't heard about any of these the committee meeting that it's supposed to be, that it was referred to, which I assume is who looks at it and decides, what can stay, what has to go, how it has to be worded or reworded. But it's a 3-page long ordinance that our mayor here put together along with one of the other council people. They also say something about we're not allowed to conduct any work outside of a completely enclosed building. What happens in the summertime when I open the garage doors and it's 90 degrees outside?
No kidding.
And 120 in here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
A couple things real quick.
Go for it.
Somebody, this ain't about parking. That's the excuse. Somebody wants your business. Somebody wants all the independent business. And I'll give you the other example because I used to live really close to Lakewood. There's no such thing as an independent veterinarian in Lakewood anymore, because what the big conglomerates have done is taken all the mama papa veterinarian things and bought them all up, and the prices went through the roof. Somebody, some chain, something wants all of the auto repair business in Lakewood, and they're going to use this ordinance as an excuse, like you said, to eliminate the mama papa, the guys like you. So my point is, do you know all your allies? Do you know the other guys that are doing
so last week, so I actually found out about this by accident last Saturday, and immediately started calling all the shops. But Mike, this is going to affect the corporate guys too. I talked to
corporate guys come in and build a giant little lot and find a way, and they will make do for stuff like that, because
I understand. But the second, one of the other things in here is parking outside of the public of the parking lines on the lot, or parking in front of a garage door. A tow truck comes and drops a car at 11 o'clock at night or 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever, and drops it in front of a garage door. Now you're in violation. And if it's a first offense, you're facing a 30 days in jail, all the way up to a third offense, which is they have in there for as a second degree misdemeanor for 90 days in jail. So this city's been hostile towards the automotive industry for a long time, ever since I can remember.
Yeah.
Back in the I want to say it was the early to mid 80s, they passed an ordinance banning used car lots unless it was attached to a new car dealership. Right. We used to have 7 new car dealerships in the city of Lakewood. Yeah. DeLorean Cadillac was 117th.
Yeah.
Old Man DeLorean.
Spitzer used to be right there.
Spitzer used to be right 2 blocks from us, on Detroit there. So Fairchild Chevy. Barry Buick was the last one to go a few years ago. Right. So I and I also I want to push back a little bit that it's not about the parking, because that's always been one of the main complaints. That's the first thing that anybody brings up whenever this topic comes up. But what people don't understand is that the way the city of Lakewood is built, and I know the people that are running the show know this, the way this city was built, it was, number one, it was built when there were still streetcars running up and down Madison Avenue and the rest of the streets. If you dig up the street, you're going to find, and I'm pointing behind me because the street's behind me, but you're going to find tracks underneath the street.
Amen.
But the way the city was constructed was to jam in as many people as possible, because the more people you have within the city limits, the more city income tax you can draw in. And these guys, they know this, but in a 4-block area where I'm located, we've got 5 automotive repair garages. One of them's a gas station. God knows how many bars, probably 5 or 6 bars. Angelo's Pizza, a daycare center, over 100 apartments, individual apartment units. And at the height before, at one time, there was probably 35 meters in a public parking spaces. And now there's one parking lot that 3 or 4 businesses share throughout the day. Since then, and this is the other funny thing, they want to talk about parking, but out of 5 meters across the street from us, they eliminated 2 of them and dedicated them to 2 separate businesses that are over there. They made one a 15-minute drop-off zone, and they made the other one through COVID. They started some temporary business to allow for restaurants to do carry out since they couldn't be open. I'll get to that in a second, Brian. They allowed a daycare center to open up over here next door. There used to be 9 parking spaces that were free on the side here, on the side street next to us. Now there's 6 metered spots. Now you have people that
me is you've got your own private lot next to your building, and they're telling you how many and what kind of parking you could. All right, now that right there in and of itself, there is somebody that can do enough stuff to slow this down. And I'm not going to name names and talk about there, and I don't want you to air what you've already done, but we got to talk. I know some people. Yeah,
I've already reached out. I was actually talking to one of the corporate attorneys from one of the corporate shops here, and I was on the phone with him, and I told him, where he could dig this up. And within, he looked at it for, maybe 20 seconds of silence on the phone. And the next thing out of his mouth was, how is this even constitutional?
Thank you.
I'm just a dumb dago from the west side of Cleveland here with a 12th grade education. And I'm looking at this saying 4th Amendment violation, 5th Amendment violation, 14th Amendment violation.
Due process,
absolutely.
Taken, please. No.
All right. So my question is, Charlie, I mean, you pretty much already answered this, but I know that you're kind of an outspoken conservative kind of guy.
No, come on.
Which I love, but you don't think that the city is targeting your business specifically with this kind of thing?
No, that's everybody.
It is directed at everybody, but I've already had a couple people, including some of the other shops, tell me that, this is about you guys. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but
regardless,
they can't pass a law and say that it's directed at one person. They have to enforce it equally, which, if we have to cross that bridge, we'll cross that bridge when we get there too. Are they going to come after me and use discretion with everybody else, or are they going to apply it across the board? Either way, I didn't see anything in here, very little that, is legal, or better yet, covered under existing law.
Thank you.
And talk about Angelo's, though. Talk about Angelo's. You said we're going to mention
right.
Talk about Angelo's.
Yeah. So God, I want to say maybe 7 or 8 years ago, Angelo's asked to be allowed to put, I think it was 8 more tables inside. They wanted to add 8 more tables. They wanted to remodel and put 8 more tables in. The city approved it, but there's no parking. Then more recently than that, and my years might be a little mixed up here because I feel like I was, 25 yesterday. A little shortly after that, they started the outdoor seating business, and they let them put probably 6 tables outside.
Right.
But again, there's no parking. So, it's just, and then at the city council meeting, one of the, I don't remember who it was, but one of the heads of a department that has to do with business and stuff like that, and planning, he was, I think there was something, I said something about how this city always talks about how they want to work with businesses and work with people. And I said, this is a really funny way of showing it. And he said something at the end. It was after all the talking had taken place. And I've posted the link to the video and audio from the meeting. It's on my Facebook page if you want to go check it out. Then you can listen to the whole deal. But he said something about that we have less business vacancies in the city. So I guess they're talking about storefronts and stuff like that.
Right.
And then we have in a long time, I want to say he said something about like maybe the last 10 years. But okay, so on one hand, you're telling me that parking is a massive issue. And at the same time, you're bragging that we have more businesses in the city than we have had, and we have the lowest amount of vacancy in the city. So which is it? Because you can't have both at the same time. Either you're going to have a lot of businesses and nobody's going to have a place to park, or you're going to have access to parking and not a lot of businesses. It's one or the other. And they've been after us for a long time. But we've been on this corner for over 50 years. My family's been on this corner for over 50 years. If we were doing something wrong, do you think you'd be in business for that long?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. I used to visit a friend who used to live in an apartment that was like right by that, right next to your shop. I think it used to be like either above or whatever. Next, there was another parking lot right there, and your shop has been there forever today, man. And I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
the parking lot's always packed because you guys do good business.
Good work.
We try to.
Good work, and that's. I've never. You've been my mechanic for how many years now? Since we're working with Triv with the benefit and everything else.
Right.
You've done good stuff for charity, and it's not because you're just a friend, but you do good work. And so the fact that the city's trying to do this to you is shocking to me. I mean, you guys are a staple of that community, and they should leave people alone. But I don't know what kind of government they're running there.
In this area, our business has been, I want to say our business is the longest standing business in this area. I believe Firestone is probably second. I think they came in, shortly after we did. But there none of the other businesses have been here for as long as we have, and the building itself has been an automotive repair garage nonstop since it was built in 1922.
Wow.
We actually have pictures from that.
Is that old Tire Kingdom place that used to be across from the Odeon still vacant?
They knocked it down.
Wow.
They knocked it down, and going back to what you said, I think that's what they want to do with. No, we're not. I mean, we have a customer to whoever asked for selling cars.
Yeah.
Every once in a while we get somebody like Seth wants to sell his car, but he doesn't want to deal with selling the car.
Mhm.
So then, we'll handle it for him. But no, as far as like an actual used car lot, we're not. We don't do that. They do that as a favor to some of my customers. But anyways, somebody told us probably 10, 15 years ago that the city wanted to put townhouses and a hotel where we're at and where Firestone's at next to us.
Somebody wants you. It's not like you're going to slap a Joe Biden force sign in the window and all your problems will go away. This is bigger than that.
But look at, I mean, and that's the thing. Like you got Lakewood, where Lakewood Hospital used to be, is a big grassy pit.
Yeah.
It's got its own Facebook page called The Pit,
right?
The Lakewood Pit, because that's what it's been. Why? There's another one where that old movie theater used to be on Hilliard and Madison.
Right.
The same thing. And what do? they got a problem with all the dog people letting their dogs go over there and go to the bathroom. So what did they do? They put a little post there with plastic bags so you can clean up after your dog. But what's it being used for? Nothing. I firmly believe that unless these people could walk outside and just see a bunch of empty parking spaces 24 hours a day, I don't think they'd be happy.
Well, I got a couple ideas that I don't think I can even say over the air.
All right.
So let's talk.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's your plan now? What are you going to do?
Well, right now I'm trying to find out where this thing went. If it's allegedly going to be up for a second read this following Monday,
right?
The 18th, then what committee did it go to and where is it and how do I get in touch with those people to try and find out what the plan is here or how they feel about it. I put an email out to my councilman, but haven't heard nothing back from that. Asking these questions, and I don't think I will, because this is another problem that I've been trying to get addressed for over 10 years now. These politicians, the mayor, the judge in Lakewood, anybody that's an elected official in Lakewood, not to single out any one person, but none of them are beholden to me. And the reason I say that is because I don't live in the city of Lakewood. Yep. So I don't have a vote in here, despite being impacted by who the mayor is, who my city council person is. So it would be no shock to me if they just ignore me and do whatever they feel like.
No, we can't let that happen.
Is there anything
kind
that
of goes
people
back.
can do?
Seth,
what's that?
Is there anything that people can do? Can they call? If they live in Lakewood, can they call, or how does that work?
Yeah.
Can anybody
so
do anything?
so you can
the hearing.
So the ordinance number is 10-2023. You can definitely call, if you live in Lakewood, you can call your city councilman and tell them that you don't support it whatsoever, because this runs the risk of forcing out every automotive repair garage in the city of Lakewood, and then people are going to have to take their cars into Cleveland or Rocky River to get them fixed, when they could, if they had a problem down the street, they could just push the car over and and get it repaired. So it's gonna be a hassle for us, and it's gonna be a hassle for all the residents too. If like I said, I don't know for sure that this is going to be on the agenda for the next meeting. I will put it on my Facebook page as soon as I find out.
Let me know, yeah.
And I'll let you guys know too.
Let us know for another reason, Charlie, because this is something we were talking about earlier in the show. This is a perfect opportunity because they have to have a public hearing. They can't just do reading, and then rubber stamp it. Right. Whenever that public hearing is, everybody can show up and show some support and do something and expose what they're doing. And at the same time, if we get a crowd there, we also, Seth, you, me, know enough people that we can get some media attention on it too, and get a lawyer involved to file some stuff to slow things down, right? So that we can do this and not have you on the show in 3 weeks and saying it's too late. Right? We got to do something now. So
yeah, this definitely isn't just about me. They might have had me in mind when they
maybe it's your corner.
When they wrote
maybe
it up.
Somebody wants your property.
Well, that's very true. And in that case, I tell them, make us a reasonable offer.
Thank you.
Or be quiet. I've been saying that for years when I get into arguments with people about about stuff. You can show up if you're a non-resident.
I agree with Sandy. Sandy, a body in the chair that is still going to voice their opinion and support for Charlie would be welcome.
Absolutely. Well, if you bring your car to a garage in Lakewood, you should be allowed to speak again about it. I had a couple people showed up last Monday when we got up there after they read the ordinance. And that's the thing, they didn't even read the ordinance. They just put it up on the screen. Yeah. And the mayor read a little bit of it, of her introduction, her letter that she started it with. And that was pretty much it.
Is that ordinance on your website too? Is it on your Facebook page? Good.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. That's on there. The link to the Fox 8 news story is on there. And then the actual language is on there as well, and so is the audio from that city council meeting.
How do people find you on Facebook?
So hang on a second. I don't know the URL off the top of my head. If you look up Charlie's Auto Repair on Facebook, I'll give you I think it's facebook.com/Charlie's Repair, because I think Charlie's Auto Repair was taken when I made this. Hang on. It's thinking. Give me a second here.
When you're not in jail, Facebook jail.
Yeah, I was
yeah,
gonna say, you have to
for the
keep
time
reinventing
being.
yourself every couple months. That's why you don't know what your address is.
Right. Yeah, Charlie's Repair, all one word. And I'll make sure all that stuff is up there so people can read it for themselves. But there was, and it was nice. We did have a couple other automotive garage owners showed up last week, and hopefully we can keep that momentum going, and let these guys know, like, you can't because a tow truck drops a car at 3:00 in the morning in front of their garage door, or shuts up somebody's business down. And if you think I'm exaggerating about that, I didn't want to, really wasn't planning to go this way, but if you think I'm exaggerating about that, almost 10 years ago, City of Lakewood produced some documents that they said were from the 80s that showed a parking plan that we agreed to only use 6 parking spaces on the property. Okay. Now that's a bunch of BS to begin with, but it had a signature on it that didn't belong to anybody here.
That's discoverable, dude.
And it didn't matter. They enforced it anyways.
Right.
So after they enforced it, we didn't have a choice. We had to move a bunch of cars, and unbeknownst to us, we had to leave all the garage doors open to everybody, which is another problem of itself, because I park cars in front of the garage door because that's my security system to keep people from coming in. And I say that because about a couple of years ago, somebody broke in through the bottom one of the garage doors and stole about $40,000 worth of equipment. Okay, but that's a different thing. So what happened was, big empty parking lot in the city of Lakewood, that most densely populated city between Chicago and New York. And what do you think is going to happen after hours with all the bars and restaurants and everything?
Amen.
What was happening? People were parking on the property after hours. We didn't know about it, except for occasionally on a Saturday, find somebody's car parked here because they had to get a cab called for them or whatever. But we don't know what's going on. Well, what happens, Mike? I got a building inspector that lives 2 blocks away.
Wow.
He starts coming over 10 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, and he's taking pictures of cars parked in the parking lot. Next thing you know, they mail us a 24 count indictment to the city, not a county. Yeah, right. Exactly. Complaint, to go respond to. So Dad, in the effort of trying to work with these people, goes down there, and he says, they say, well, we'll tell you what, you plead guilty to 3 of them, we'll drop the rest. Okay, great.
Wow.
Let's get this done. Let's get back to work. Goes in there in front of the judge, different judge at the time than the one we have now.
Right.
Night and day difference. And the judge wasn't happy with this. Dad says, please no contest. Thanks. Give me my fine. I'll go pay the fine and let's get out of here.
Right.
Judge says, well, I'm remanding you until I can decide what your sentence is going to be. Keeps him in jail for 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
This was in June of 2014. Kept him in jail for 2 weeks before he let him out.
There's something else going on here.
So, if you think I'm exaggerating.
No, you're not exaggerating. 2
my examples.
One of them is the judge has changed and the mayor's changed. So whoever is the politician, the more things change, the more they stay the same. That. But number 2, one other thing you should do just to cover yourself is go to your property records in Lakewood. Because every time somebody requests information on the property, they got to sign for it. Right. See if anybody, a realtor, a corporation, a holding company, an investment firm, see who's taking a look at the specs on your property.
All right, that's a good idea.
If anybody
Charlie,
else that's angling
we're
for
going to
it.
keep in contact with you and figure out what the hell's going on. You got to let us know what's going on. Keep us informed
sure.
on the hearings and everything else.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to let this die. Because
No.
I also have a records request to the city also for anything with any department that involves this ordinance or this property for the last 3 years.
Well,
So,
we're going to be in touch with you. I promise you that.
all right.
Yep.
I appreciate it, guys.
You got it,
Thank
bro.
you for coming on tonight and explaining everything. And people can look you up on Facebook, and we're going to have you on again as this thing progresses so we can get